Yo, welcome back, guys. So the power of I've been talking about this a lot recently in a few of my videos, and I wanted to re-emphasize a few things here. What I wanted to talk about and cover is this idea I came up with recently that was kind of an epiphany, or something I thought, people should really know about this or think about it logically. So the thought was this, really. Singing needs to be easy enough for an 8-year-old to figure out. Yeah? It needs to be simple enough for an 8-year-old to figure out, or a 7-year-old, or a 6-year-old. Yeah? We talk about young singers singing very well, relatively easily from a young age. Think to yourself, what kind of exposure have they had to my videos, as an example? 0. What kind of exposure have they had to, a lot of different terminology and a lot of different logical concepts in regards to singing? Generally very little. In fact, we know plenty of young people figure singing out completely intuitively, with no books, frankly, very little help, just listening to singers and doing what they do. So the reason I say that is that my argument here is really that whenever you are listening to somebody talk about singing, whenever you are reading something in regards to singing, whenever you are practicing your singing, ask yourself this question. Are the kind of things going on in my head too complicated for a child to think about? What I mean by that is a lot of abstract concepts like chest, head, mix, like claw, like any of the CVT terms, frankly. What is it? Claw, edge, curbing, all these things. M1, M2, all these types of things. All of these things are abstract concepts that adults come up with. No young children come up with concepts like this to explain singing, to understand singing, to learn singing. So we have to figure out, what is it that's so simple about singing that young people are able to latch on to? When I talk about the power of the reason it's so key for me at the minute is because I believe that it's so simple and so almost disconnected from singing. Just as that it really gets down to the brass tacks of what we're trying to learn as singers. The right kind of squeeze, the how do we sound good easily? Yeah? When we just get away from all of this expectation which older people have, and we just think about the power of a lot of good things start to happen. We start to disregard and not care about how it sounds, which is one thing young people are very good at. They trust that it's going to sound good when it feels good. We also get around a lot of the stylistic choices that people make prematurely, frankly, a lot of the time when they're learning to sing. And we just get back to the very basic principles of the voice. Close the vocal cords, make sound. If the chords come apart, bring them together. Really as simple as that. If I feel this happening, I adjust it. Anyone can do that. Yeah, anyone can make that sound and just take it up and down in a scale. It is not hard to do. And then in that same respect, singing is really that easy a lot of the time. We make it so much harder than it needs to be. And this is why I say, ask yourself, could an 8-year-old figure this out? Could a 7-year-old figure this out? Because far too often, all I'm finding with struggling singers is they've got a load of really complicated abstract thinking going on in their head, and they're trying to put that onto something that should have been learned intuitively and simply from the get-go, basically. And the more they've done that, the more problems they've found, and the more problems they've found, the more they've done that. Yeah? So the power of is the power to get back to learning singing the right way, without any expectation, without any sense of, oh, is that chest, is that head, what is that, oh, I don't like this sound, I don't like that sound. It's just feel the sensations, copy what I'm doing. If the chords come apart, get them together. After that, after you've mastered that, singing is not that hard. The problem is, though, people don't even realise how key that is, just to master the simple skill of on every pitch in their range. If you're a guy doing an up to your high C, a little bit higher, ideally up to the E flat, if you want that second bridge to be consistent. Doesn't need to be super heavy, doesn't need to be super loud, just needs to be connected and right there on that split. Once you can do that consistently on any, on different sounds, whether it's ah, whether you're using consonants or not, all these things, once you've got that consistent bite through the range, you start to understand the very principles of what easy, free, nice sounding singing really is. You start to understand that the sound is a result of that nice, clean, simple coordination and that nice, clean, simple approach in the mind. Same approach a young person would use. No clutter, no bullshit, no abstract concepts, none of that. It's just the power of The next video I put up in a few days, I will cover it again with some practical demonstrations, but I wanted to emphasize here why I keep talking about this at the minute, because it just literally strips away all the bullshit and it just gets you back to learning to use your voice in a very simple way, and you will find holes. The problem I have is every student that comes to me that says I'm struggling with my singing, I get them to do an and they can't do it. And I say, let's do it again until we can. And the misunderstanding is, well, this don't even sound like singing. What is this? It's like, but it's just simple voice skills. They translate into good singing later on. Simple voice skills, improved and mastered over time. The problem with singing is that it's so simple and so easy, in one sense, that people miss the wood for the trees. Very quickly it gets overcomplicated. Very easily it gets taken too far into the logical, too far into the abstract. And before they know it, they've missed and neglected the basic building blocks that they needed to cover at the very start if they wanted to sing well. And that's why, if you're a struggling singer, you will go from coach to coach to coach, over and over and over, and you won't get very far until you start going back to the very beginning and asking yourself, what did I miss when I first started learning simple voice skills? And if you can do very well, then you can move on to the next step. But until you can do very well, it's always going to be hard, because you skipped a step. Yeah, you skip the basics. And that's why it's always going to be hard. And we'll leave it at that, guys. I'll see you in another video. Bye! Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want my help personally, you can book a one-on-one training session. Drop me a message. My email is in the description. And if you feel like this message was of value, then please feel free to make a donation equal to that value. Again, donation link is in the description. And finally, please share this video with other singers you know. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you in another video. Bye!